Last week we did a week of non-UPF food. So we did a UPF free week and we did a video on it, which you can go and watch. But we realised that we didn't really explain what a UPF food was and why we were doing it. UPF basically stands for ultra processed food. So we were avoiding any kind of food that was processed. Processed meaning that if you turn the packet over and there's a whole list of ingredients on there that you can't pronounce and aren't in your kitchen cupboard, it's probably full of emulsifiers, preservatives, sugars, things that you don't need in your body.
Potato starch, maltodextrin, palm fat, salt, wheat flour with calcium, iron, niacin, thiamine, colour, ammonium caramel, flavourings, sugar, emulsifiers, soya, lecithin, black pepper extract, rosemary extract, onion oil. I mean, that's just all crap.
What about the wafers?
Wafers, where are they?
Right from here.
Oh, these. Have a look. Tapioca starch, rice flour medium, cornstarch, iodized salt, canola oil, otherwise known as rapeseed oil, tasty cheese powder, milk solids, cheese solids, pasteurized milk, starter culture, enzymes, salt, acidity regulators, emulsifiers, lecithin, sodium bicarbonate, vegetable gum, xanthan, citric acid, rosemary extract. May contain almonds, pecan, hazelnuts, macadamia, walnut, and sesame seeds.
We wanted to avoid all of that for a whole week and see how we would do. So that meant cooking from fresh ingredients, whole ingredients, and it was way harder than we actually thought it was going to be. Or definitely way harder than I thought it was going to be anyway. After a week of doing that completely, we decided that there was a few things that we needed to add back into our diet to make it sustainable and manageable. We really want to try and get rid of as much of the processed stuff as possible because one, it's better for your health. Two, it's really good for your gut to get rid of all this stuff, and we want to try and look after our gut health because I have a feeling that that is at the root cause of a lot of weight problems, hormone problems for me, all different kinds of things. So a healthy gut, and that's what I want to try and do. But there are a few things that we felt were a little bit on the deal breaker side, that we felt were like our weak points of where we're going to crack. So we made a list of what those things were, what we were really missing, what we really kind of needed, and tried to either find the best options for those or an alternative to make it non-ultra processed. After doing a week with no food or no processed food, we had a few deal breakers, and so we're now going to find a few things that we think will make life easier for us if we put out ultra processed food. So there's a few things that we kind of need to add to make it easier to cook and think.
Yeah.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
It does to me.
For us, the main culprit, or certainly for me, the main culprit was sauce. So having no sauce on anything meant quite a lot of dry food. So we need to try and find sauces. Probably make our own ketchup, which we've done before, so that's not really a problem. Making our own mayonnaise was a complete disaster, so we're not doing that. But we need to find our own stuff, and we have done some research online and found some places and sauces that have kind of whole ingredients in them and don't have all this like ultra processed like preservatives and stuff in them, like unnecessary stuff that you don't need in your sauce, like more fresh sauces. They are definitely more expensive, which is really annoying. But at the moment, they're the kind of deal breakers. So we're going to try and look at those. The other thing was honey, because we were having a lot of yogurt and I like to have honey in my yogurt. So honey was one that we thought, well, if we get local honey, because apparently these mass-produced honeys are like full of all sorts. I mean, you don't really know what to believe anyway, do you? But we thought if we get local honey, that's the best honey we can get. It's very windy and rainy, so we look a bit windswept.
I mean, I can barely see.
But we're out walking pop and have bought some local honey. We know there's loads of honey around here, so yeah, that one wasn't too bad. And then the other thing was bread. We are going to try and bake some sourdough and get on the sourdough bandwagon, but for now everything's really crazy busy, so that's not one. So we did some research and found the best bread that we could get as well. One of the things we really missed when we were doing a week of completely non-UPF was bread. And so we did some research, because whilst we're willing, we're not going to bake bread at the moment. Maybe one day, we don't really have time for that right now. So we did some research into what was the best bread to have, and this apparently is the best bread. So this is sourdough, and this has just got less crap in it than all the other breads. And it's only a half loaf, and Gabs and I will only eat the half loaf over the week. So this is the one that we're sticking with until we actually learn how to bake our own bread. So this week we're going to try and go for essentially a UPF free week, but we're going to add in those tiny little tweaks that are either the best of a bad bunch or alternatives that make it non-processed. So we've just been absolutely drenched because it was chucking it down with rain. But we've just been to M&S to try and find some sauces, and one of the biggest problems that we've got is that M&S do have some sauces that probably are quite good, and they're not full of like preservatives and gum and rubbish, but they're full of alcohol.
Like talking 8.5%, 12% on one of them.
So obviously Gabs and I don't drink, and we know that alcohol cuts off blah 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 blah, but we prefer to avoid food and mouthwashes and all that kind of thing with alcohol in. We try and go alcohol free as much as we can wherever we can. So these sauces having alcohol in them is not really the one for us. So we need to have a think about where our compromises are going to be. And right now we don't think, it might change, but right now alcohol in the sauce, we're going to see if we can find alternatives first. But we did manage to get a cheese sauce which doesn't have alcohol in it, but it was the only one, literally the only one.